Live, where news comes first. This is WECT News.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Frances Weller.
And I'm John Evans. WECT investigates tonight how leaders are spending, or in some cases, not spending your tax dollars.
A new dashboard reveals thousands of state jobs have been empty for months now. WECT's Connor Smith digging through the data today. Connor, these openings leave millions of public dollars in limbo.
Yeah, that's right, Fran. More than $20 million just across our 5 counties. And tonight we're tracking where that money's going, since it's not going to paychecks. Keeping our highways, bridges, and roads safe falls on the North Carolina Department of Transportation. But new data shows a staffing hole has created a rocky road for the department.
There's a large number of openings here in New Hanover and Brunswick counties.
NCDOT's Trevor Carroll says they have more than 80 job openings in southeastern North Carolina. This new dashboard from the state auditor's office tracks state jobs that have been open for at least 6 months. Nearly half of NCDOT's 80 openings in New Hanover County. That adds up to $2.5 million public dollars the department has received but isn't spending on salaries.
That directly affects the quality of the end product, which is better. The more staff we have, the more qualified staff we have, everything is better.
Now, if a state job is open, the agencies can still use the cash, but NCDOT says it can't go to projects, just smaller expenses like equipment purchases. At the end of the fiscal year, agencies can no longer spend the money. So Carroll says it's crucial for them to fill their positions and keep the staff that they have.
We're trying to have more of an effort to just cast a bigger net, bring some folks in so that we can grow them the NCDOT way.
Lapsed salaries have totaled more than $5 million in New Hanover, Pender, and Columbus counties. Across North Carolina, it's more than $1 billion. So it's a problem plenty of departments across the state have to address so they can ensure your tax dollars are spent efficiently. And we do have a link to this new dashboard, which outlines open positions and salaries across the state inside your WECT News app. Fran?
Connor, besides NCDOT, any other state agencies that have a lot of openings in our area?
Yeah, the Department of Adult Correction had the most by far. The salaries there totaling over $10 million. The department spokesperson, though, says they could not do an on-camera interview today to talk about what or how they are addressing that.
Wow, interesting. Thanks so much, Connor.